Hi everybody, I'm back with my first craft fair series video for 2023. I did start a craft fair series a few years ago, and I didn't continue with it because I got really busy and then ran into other parts of my series. So this year I'm doing an entire craft fair series for the whole year, different items you can make for your spring, summer, winter, and fall craft fairs. And I'll take you through step by step how I price things, how I set my tables up, what I buy for my tables, displays, things like that. We'll be doing videos on that throughout the year. But I did, in a previous video, in the coffee talk video, I showed you guys these are creamer bottles, coffee creamer bottles. And I make these cute little adorable gnomes. Hopefully you can see the whole little guy here. And these were my Christmas ones. And I did a little like flower arrangement here with the candy canes. And I used felt for the body and for the arms and for the gloves. And then for the hat, I just get myself some Christmas material. I use a large yarn to finish off the hat and a thinner yarn to finish off the sleeve. And that's how I did my Christmas one. But today we are going to make this little guy. He's so cute. He's so cute and simple. I saw that I had Valentine material in my stash and I wanted to make one of him. And I just used a felt circle and a heart, 2 felt circles to finish off the hat instead of a pom-pom. And I did a no-sew hem to finish off his hat. And then I used the scrap material to make a hem for the sleeves down here. So I'm going to show you guys how I made him. Although I'm out of this pattern, I'm going to be using this heart pattern today. But basically, you guys can decorate these however you'd like. I didn't decorate his hat yet. I just found this in my stash. And then I also saw these felt cupcakes that I got from the Dollar Tree quite a few years ago. And I was like, well, why not? You know, why not give this little guy a little cupcake to hold? And as you can see, I just had his beard facing down, but you can like make a little mustache if you wanted to. It's up to you guys what you want to do. But basically, I'm going to show you how I put the bodies together, how I measure the hats out according to the size of the nose, how I cut my beards, make my arms and my mittens. And then you guys, you know, can do them however you'd like. So let's get started. What you're going to need is a coffee creamer bottle. And what I do is I run them through my dishwasher. Now, you may not be able to do that. It could melt in your dishwasher according to how hot it is. So you want to be careful with that. You could just hand wash them. I have just hand washed them really well. And then I let them dry out for days. Because the trick to using an upcycled material is you're always washing them, but you definitely don't want any moisture inside here. You don't want anywhere for mold to grow. So make sure if you hand wash or dishwasher, you let them dry out for days. And then once they're dried out for days, you can get yourself some weighted beads, because these are very lightweight, and once you decorate them, they have a tendency to tip over. So I weight mine down. Instead of with beads, I bought this bag of stones. It's 28 ounces, and I get these at the Dollar Tree. So for $1.25, I can fill pretty many creamer bottles. When you buy the weighted beads, they're very expensive. So I'm very careful what I use weighted beads in because of the cost for myself. This is much better for my budget. So you can use weighted beads or stones like I do. And you're just going to grab a handful of stones and fill the bottom of your bottle. Okay, so now it's rattling, and you want to fix that rattling problem. So what I do is I get some polyfill, or some people call it pillow filler, and you're going to stuff your bottle, and you're just going to keep stuffing, and you can use, you know, some kind of pokey tool to poke it down, and you're going to stuff it until you no longer hear the stones in the bottom rattling around. Okay? Then once you do that, you can add some hot glue or liquid glue to the cap, close it up, add some liquid glue around the seam here, and then twist it on to your bottle. It pretty much stays twisted and this stays closed pretty well, but I like to glue them up anyway. So those are how I get my bottles prepared. And then once I have it prepared, not all the bottle caps are the same. Some are a little pointier depending on what kind of creamer you use. So what you're going to decide is, what side of the bottle do I want to have in the front, and what do I want in the back. Now, as you can see, I have hot glue and some felt on that one because I had messed up on this one when I covered it, and I quick peeled it off so that I could redo it. That's kind of the nice thing about using hot glue. If you mess up, you can peel your bottle up fairly quickly. Now, I ended up having to cut off some of my red felt because I messed up. Normally, you have much more room for your seam to go over. So I'm missing about a ½ inch off of my felt. I use a 12 by 9 inch piece of felt. This is going to be the back of my bottle, and when I cover it up, I want to make sure I leave about 1 inch over the bottom, and you'll see why when we do this. So right now I'm just going to run some hot glue. Actually, let me put my glasses on. I'm going to run some hot glue up the back. You can even put it on your felt if you want. But I want to pull my felt to where it's nice and snug going around. You want it as straight as you can when you pull it this way on the bottom. You don't want your seam, if you can see, you don't want your seam to be all kinds of wonky sideways. So make sure you do have, when you cover it going this way, it's pretty much straight up and down. You can pull this over on top because the hat's going to cover that. But the bottom piece here, you want that going straight up and down on your bottle. I'm just going to peel back, put some glue on the edge, staying away from the very edge because when you finally close this over, you don't want any glue seeping out. A piece of fur there. Okay, I'm going to hold that down, and now this top piece here, I'm going to add hot glue, staying away from the very edge and pulling this nice and snug over at the top. Okay, so straight line this way, pulled it over snug here. And then what I like to do is on the inside of the felt, just run some hot glue around the edge and pull it nice and snug. And just kind of secure it around the bottle. And you're not going to see any of this, but I like to have it nice and snug at the top. Now, the bottom here, this is the lip that goes over. We're going to be cutting it and gluing it around. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut in every about inch, inch and a quarter all the way around. And you're going to flip it over. And you want to get some glue down by the edge of your bottle and then glue the whole piece and put it snugly around the bottom. Same thing here, down by the edge and push it nice and snug because you want the body piece to be nice and tight. Edge in the center and push it over nice and snug. You don't want any air bubbles down here. And then I use my circle stitch dies to cut a circle out of felt for the bottom so it has a nice finish. Because when somebody's buying your gnome, they don't want to see this. You know, they don't want to see this hot mess that we're making right now. They want to see a nice finished piece. If you don't have a circle die, that's okay. Just find yourself something round. You could even use the bottom of this. Trace yourself a circle and then cut it out. Okay, now I have a lot of hot glue strings and stuff on this. I'm not sure if my camera's picking it up. I buy these lint rollers. You can get these at the Dollar Tree, Walmart, anywhere. And this one's kind of got fur all over it. But these come in really handy when you're working with doing gnomes or anything with hot glue, because you can just run it all along your felt and get all of that hot glue off of there. And then you can use this on your mat as well. And then you're ready to go. You don't want to have any hot glue strings when you go to glue down your felt piece. So this is my felt piece here. And I have a piece of fur on that. And as you can see, it pretty much covers the whole bottom. So I put it on and then I just pull this back. I can get it started here. And you want to stay away from the very edge because, like I said, you don't want any hot glue seeping through. And you want to place that on the bottom and push it down nice and snug on the edge. And you're going to go around the entire circle and do that. You do not need to glue the center because you want this to stay nice and flat. If you glue the center, it'll go in like that, and you don't want that. I'm hoping my camera's at an okay angle. It's hard to... Okay, and I'm just pushing that down and holding it there a minute. Now, if you were going to use regular material for the body, I would suggest you cover it, and if the material is not thick, I would suggest you covered it with felt first and then material, because sometimes, and I'll show you right here, when you cover it with material, this is a thin material, and you pull this nice and tight, sometimes you can see the ridge. Can you guys see that? You can see that ridge that's in the bottle. So you want a nice, smooth, finished piece. If you're using a thinner material, you may want to, like I said, cover it with felt first and then go over it with your material. Okay, so let me just finish this off and we will get to the beard. Okay, so that's how I start my body, and I finish off the bottom. Alright, so this is the back seam. I'm going to face that directly behind me, and I'm going to change my camera angle so you're looking at it this way, and that way it's a little bit better than me trying to, you know, fit this whole thing in the camera. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and hopefully this is a little bit better of an angle. So you could see this is the straight part, and finished off. I did get a little seam here, and I don't really care for that, but it's directly in the front of my bottle, and my beard's going to cover that. So I'm okay with it right now. All right, so I already cut my beard to go on here, but I want to show you guys, in case you don't know really how to cut fur. I didn't know how to cut fur when I first started, and I watched a ton of different videos, and pretty much if you want the best look from the fur, you don't want to go directly in and cut it. It's going to make the fur look horrible. So right now it's facing toward me. I'm going to flip it over, and you're just going to cut the material between the fur, this material back here. You're not going to chomp into it, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Okay, so what I do to measure my gnome fur is I want the fur to go to the bottom of the bottle, like on here. Okay, so if you can see, hold on, I have arms flying everywhere. You can see the bottom here. This is the material. So I go towards the very end, the very bottom, and then I want it on the top to go all the way across on each side. And then you basically want it in a U shape. Okay, so to get that look, I created a pattern. And this is just a cracker box that I had. But basically, my bottom of the U is at the bottom, and it goes all the way across, halfway on each side. All right. So all I did was I measured that out, and then I drew a U shape, or a rounded V, whatever you want to call it. And I have my fur, the bottom of the fur facing away from me. So this is going to be the top part of our beard, and the bottom part where it's nice and fuzzy on the end. And I just take my white jelly roll pen and I trace out my pattern. You do not have to make a pattern for yourself if you don't want to. If you're pretty good at eyeballing things and measuring them, you could just go in and draw yourself out a beard and, you know, go for it that way. I just wanted to have a pattern for myself because I do make a lot of these, and it's just a little more precise and easier. So like I said, you don't want to go in and start chomping away and cutting off all that fur. What you want to do is just cut, and you'll know when you get this. It's kind of hard to explain. You just want to get your scissors between the fur and the material in the back. And I'll show you what I mean. You see, as I pull this away, you see all that nice fur that's coming out there. That's what you want. And you'll know if you're just cutting the material or you're cutting into the fur. When you pull this away, you won't have this nice fur hanging there. That'll be chomped off. You don't want that. So just cut, be very careful, and just cut the back. Cut into the back. Some people use X-Acto knives. I do not. I'm not good with the X-Acto knives, so I do not do that. These are super sharp scissors that I'm using, and they help me get between the fur and the backing. Now if I just chomped into the material and the fur, I would just have this U shape without any fur hanging off of it. And that does not give you a very nice beard. But you'll see when I pull this away, See all that nice fur coming with it? That long stuff hanging off? That's what you want when you cut a beard. If you would have just chomped in, you wouldn't have that. You would just have like that fur piece there. Kind of want that nice long stuff so you can shape your beard. All right, so that's how I cut my fur. And actually he might look kind of cute, right? With little Valentine guy with the darker fur. I don't know, I haven't done one with a dark fur. Maybe I'll use this today with the dark material. Okay, so you want to find your back seam. You want to point that directly in the back. So it's back here. You want to line up your fur to where it's, you got that bottom piece at the edge down here. Okay. And then just pull it back and hot glue that edge and place it down. And pull this out, go across, place that down. It actually looks really good. I like that. And then I flip it up and I glue the whole, just run some hot glue along the center, and then I smooth it down. Oh, I love this fur. I got this fur at Hobby Lobby along with my, with the white fur as well. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to go in and I'm going to hot glue the edge here. And make sure it's nice and pressed down. Same thing on this side. I'm going to pull back and I'm just going to glue the edge of that material, because you do not want to get hot glue on your fur. Press that down, and I'll do the same thing on the bottom here. If I didn't get all the way to the edge, I will add hot glue in there and press that down. But now you see how you got all this fur sticking to it? That's why I love having this thing. I even run it over my fur, get the excess off in a way before you start gluing anything else. Okay, so the center of my beard, I'm going to find my edges, and the center is right about here. So I'm just going to start working the fur, and you can use a tweezer or a comb. Start working the fur to one side and the other until you get down to where you see that material there. That's where you want to glue your nose. So I use a nice wooden bead that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. This is a large one. You can use any size you'd like. I'm going to put my hot glue in the center there and then glue my nose and push it down. And then you can glue or just comb down your fur, or you can leave it out, have a little mustache if you'd like. Let me get some more lighting in here. There we go. Okay, up to you. I'm just going to comb mine down. Now, for measuring the hat, I measured my piece for, it's not stretchy material. So since it's not stretchy because of the size of my nose, I measured mine 14 inches around by 13 inches high. And basically how I figure that measurement out is you take your material. I think this is the 14-inch side. Let me check. Nope, this is. No, wait. There we go. Okay. You take your material and you're going to wrap it around, and you want to go halfway on that nose. Halfway on that nose, and then you want to overlap it by about a 1/2 inch. Just a 1/2 inch. You don't need to overlap it too much, because basically when you put your hat on, you want enough room just so that the material can go over the nose and you can pull it down on the body. Okay, so your 14-inch side, you want to fold in half. And we're going to cut our material. So remember, 14 by 13. And what I do on the bottom of my material here is, and now you see I have my measuring mat here. I'm going to go up about 2 inches, and then I'm going to cut in at an angle, and I'm going to go right to this point here. If you wanted to, you could pin this side. If you're not sure the fabric will stay together, it's entirely up to you. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to find my scissors though. Okay, so I'm at my edge. I'm going to go up 2 inches, and I'm going to start cutting. Another thing, when I make my hats, I like to iron my material. I like it to have a nice finished look. I do not want it all wrinkly and you know, just, I don't like that. So I asked my mom and dad and, well, everybody, they said, what do you want for Christmas? I wanted this little iron. I love this little iron. I can keep it on my desk. It has a nice base to it, so when it's really super hot, you could just sit it on the base. And you can use this for your crafting, like your Cricut vinyl. I use it for material. I have not used it for vinyl yet, but I will post a link below to where my mom and dad got this for me on Amazon. I was pricing them out, and I was going to get a Cricut one, and I thought, ooh, that's a little too expensive for me, so I found this one instead, and it works fantastic. And my husband made me a little makeshift ironing board. He took the batting, this cotton batting, and then material, and he folded it over a piece of wood, and he used a staple gun and stapled it. So now I have a nice desk ironing board, and that's what I use, guys. So anyway, I'll post a link below to that iron if you'd like a little crafty iron instead of, you know, I didn't want to always have to get out my big ironing board for everything. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start hot gluing the edge of this. This is a no-sew hat. You could sew it if you'd like. If you do, just stay along your edge the whole way. I usually start at the bottom. You could start at the tip too if you wanted to. It's up to you. And I do use these silicone finger protectors. You could pick them up at, sometimes you can find them at the Dollar Tree in a 3-pack, which I have. They don't always have them, but they work fantastic. So I'm just running hot glue along the edge, and then I'm using my silicone finger, and then I'm repressing it. And let me get the tip here. I'm sorry guys, I'm not a super fast crafter. Some people can just run hot glue on it and zoop, be done, you know? Not me. See, I tried to zoop and my little sound effects, and it kind of messed it up. Okay, so I let that dry a minute, and then I put my hand inside my finger, and I'm pushing along the edge, and I've shown you guys how to do this with the pill bottle gnomes. But basically, I'm pressing my finger on the inside against this edge that we just hot glued. And I'm running it down along the edge because you don't want any, see here? See how that came apart? You don't want that to happen to you. So I'm going to go in again. I'm going to make sure that's nice and hot glued, because you don't want to get your gnome hat all completed and then find out you have a little hole with the hot glue. Okay, so that seems pretty good. Now I'm going to roll it up about not even quite an inch. See, that just came apart. I must not have had that sealed really well. And that's really important. You don't want these things to fall apart on you. Okay, let me take this thing off because I'm going to fold it up not quite an inch because I want to create a hem. And then I just kind of spread my fingers in there, and I go along the edge of that lip with hot glue and press it down. Going to run along the edge on the inside, press it down, and I go all the way around with it. Just because once we get this turned inside out, we're going to fold it again to create a nice little hem. Okay, so now you can turn your hat around. What's the matter, Watson? I don't know if y'all can hear my cat, Watson. It's meowing. Are you okay, buddy? Okay. So this is our hat. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it up only about maybe 1/4 of an inch, just to create a little hem all the way around. And then as I fold that up, I'm going to hot glue it underneath that little hem. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Created about 1/4 of an inch hem and hot glue that down. If you iron it, it will probably be a lot easier, but I just go little by little, make 1/4 of an inch hem. Right here. Okay, so our gnome hat is all done. We're going to get our gnome, and the seam, you want to make sure the seam on your hat matches up with the seam on your body. So you're going to want to pull down just like that. And you want to make sure you have enough to go over your little gnome nose. And then once you do, what I do is I kind of peel this back from the nose, put a little hot glue on the edge there, and then place it right up over my nose like that and let it dry. Now I don't glue the sides yet because we are going to put arms underneath this, but I will pull it down in the back, flip this piece up, add hot glue, and push it down. And that way the back is nice and secure. And then once we put the arms in underneath, you can do that. But this is the finished hat. So I'm going to change my camera angle because we're going to be making the arms, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back and we got the hat done. And basically you could put a pom-pom on the edge of here. You can do some hearts like I did on the other one. It's entirely up to you. But right now we're going to make the arms. I mean, this guy is cute without arms. I think you could do it just like this if you didn't want to make arms. But we're definitely going to make some arms, and I'm going to show you how I make my little gloves. So basically for my glove, I took another piece of that cracker box and I just drew out a mitten to the size I thought would work. And then I took, whoa, my extra lighting almost fell over here. I don't know what I did with my black felt. Hello, felt. Where did you go? Oh, here it is. Oh my gosh. I took a piece of gray felt and I folded over. And the same thing with this. You're going to take your jelly roll, white jelly roll pen, or if you have a chalk marker, whatever works for you. And I just trace it around. And then I take my scissors and I cut it out. Trying to keep these two pieces of felt together, and that way you create one glove. Okay, so that's not completely perfect, but just gonna go in and snip where you need to snip. And then the piece that might have some white chalk on it, I just put it towards the back here so you won't even see that when it's glued together. And then I pull it apart. I add hot glue to the edge. And I'm going to close it up. And I'm going to do that all the way around, and you want to leave the bottom of the mitten open because you're going to put a little bit of polyfill in there to make it more dimensional. Okay, so once that dries, and I'll show you what I did with it. You're going to make two of those. But basically, once that dries, you're going to want to start stuffing it with polyfill. And I have some here. That's partially done, and that's where these come in handy. These stylists I got at Joann's, where they sell the clay, the molding clay. And basically this tool on the bottom here is fantastic to mold and shape molding clay, and then you have your stylus up here. So I've been using this. It's so much easier to stuff my gloves with it. But I just take some you could use tweezers too. I mean, what the heck, let's give that a try. Most people have a pair of tweezers. And you just kind of keep shoving it in there until you feel you have enough bulk in your mitten. So you're going to make two mittens for your hands. Now, if you aren't comfortable drawing out a mitten and doing this. You don't have to make mittens. I've seen some people, the same wooden noses, they get smaller ones and they just put those in as the gnome hands. So you could do that as well. Add some hot glue in there, pop in the wooden bead, and that could be your hand. So there's an idea for you there. Okay. For my arms, I usually measure 4 by 2, and then I take a pipe cleaner because I like to be able to bend my arms. I take a full-length pipe cleaner and I'll fold it in half, and I'll cut it, and then I'll fold it in half again and cut it. And then these 2 pieces here I glue into my arms. So this is 2 by 4. Just going to add some hot glue, stick it in the center. I'm going to let that dry, and I'll glue my other piece while that's drying. Hot glue that down. Okay. And then I'm going to take the edge of the felt, put hot glue on it, and fold it over to where I have a little bit, almost a 1/2 inch piece left. I'm going to add felt to this side, and I'm going to fold it over again. Just like that. And you just want to make sure you don't have any hot glue seepage coming out. So that's my arm. I mean, I don't have to stuff it, but I don't like the flat look of that. So I'm just going to make sure it's nice and opened up through the whole arm. And I take some polyfill and I just start stuffing. And you can get yourself a wooden skewer or just one of these and just keep stuffing it in until you see it on both sides. This side I keep a little bit flatter because this is the side that we are going to put up underneath the edge of the hat right next to my beard. But before we do that, I like to glue in the mittens. So my seam's going to be on the inside when it's glued to the gnome. So to make sure I have my mitten facing the right way. And I just put it in there. And then I get my hot glue and I go up underneath. And I glue that mitten in. Now, I think that has a cute look, but I do like to finish off my pieces. So from that scrap piece that we cut off the hat, I'm just going to cut myself a piece, and I'm going to add glue to this side to get it started. Fold that over. You want to be really careful working with hot glue. You do not want to burn yourself. And I'm just going to make myself a cute little cuff. Okay. And this might actually be a little too wide. Better to be too wide than not wide enough. Take that and I'm going to fold it over again. Okay, let me cut that piece off. I'm going to start in the back where my seam is. I'm going to add hot glue to the cuff and wrap that around. Put a little bit of hot glue here. I just think it makes a cute little cuff sleeve. And let me cut this off at the seam there. Add some hot glue. And we're done. Okay, so this is the seam that's going to go against the body. So I'm going to lift my hat up right against my fur. I'm going to put my sleeve in. And I want my glove, my mitten, to touch, you know, to be towards the end of the body here, because I pull mine in and they usually hold something. But I like the pipe cleaner because, see, you can bend the arms when that pipe cleaner's in there, and you could shape it to however you want it shaped. So let me comb this down. Once I have my arm in there, I go up underneath the arm and I hot glue in here and hold that down, and then I'm going to pull this hat up and do the same thing. Add hot glue in there and fold my hat over it. Okay, so for time purposes, I just went ahead, made another cuff, and I glued it onto this arm, and I put it up in here in the hat, same way I did on this side, just to save a little time. You know, I showed you how to do one arm, so I did the other one, because this video is getting rather long, and I'm sorry. I'm a slow crafter. Anyway, I really like the dark beard, guys. What do you think? Like, here's the white beard. I'm kind of loving this color. What do you guys think? Let me know. Okay, so we're at the point of the cupcake, and I did tell you guys I would share with you. I got these at the I'm thinking I got these at the Dollar Tree. I might have gotten them at Walmart, but I do know they sell things like this, and these are just felt cupcakes, and I have some felt hearts in my bag here. But basically, I took 2 cupcakes and I backed them up back to back, and you can peel the ends off here. I don't know if I want those on there. I think I want vanilla again. What do you think, vanilla or chocolate? I like vanilla. Okay, so you're going to peel the back off of one of them. Come on, fingers. And then you're just going to peel the back off of this one as well. And you're going to stick them together. I'm all thumbs today, guys. I'm so sorry. And I know this is a long video, and I do apologize, but if I try to craft faster, like some people are super fast at this stuff. If I try, I mess it up. I'm so slow. Okay. So I'm backing those up. Ooh, and as you can see, they're really sticky. Okay, perfect. So they're nice and stuck together, but I really don't like all of that hanging out from the front. So I just kind of went in and trimmed it up a little bit. So you couldn't really see all of that sticking out. And then I'm going to take the edge of the inside of this glove. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on it. And I'm just going to glue it to the front of the cupcake. And you want to hold it down for a little bit till it really gets nice and secure. Make sure you don't get any hot glue on your little guy here. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Flip open the mitten. Put some hot glue on the end. Gather them in the center here and glue it on. This would probably be a good time to wear those silicone fingers. Oh gosh. And I love the pipe cleaner inside the arm because you can bend the arms. But there he is. He's holding this little cupcake, and he's cute. And I'm not really sure how I'm going to finish off my hat here yet. Like I said, this one I did a round felt circle and a felt heart here. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to think about it. But I just wanted to show you how I secured this on. And also you can get yourself a comb. And I'm just going to use my tweezers to give you an example. But I like my fur down. But some people like to create like little mustache. You could do that. Entirely up to you guys. But that is my cute little creamer bottle Valentine's Day gnomes. And I'm loving this dark fur. I really, really like it. Now, for the craft show, I am probably going to sell these depending on what I use to decorate the hats with and, you know, the cost of materials and things like that. Anywhere from $18 to $22, really depending on the expense. Normally, when I do a project like this, I will take the cost of all of my material and I will multiply it by 4 or 5. You can't always do that with everything. Sometimes the cost of making a wreath is, you know, you might not have gotten your items on sale and you don't want to charge $200 for it. It's up to you. You know, you gotta figure out your audience. You know, you gotta figure out what area you're doing the craft show in, what's in demand and what isn't, and go from there. But yeah, probably 18 to 22, depending on, you know, because you got to figure you're doing all this material and you don't always get your time out of it, which is sad but true. So I'm pretty sure my Santas, these little Santa guys, these are definitely going to be $18 till all is said and done. This guy I'm probably going to put a ribbon bow here. I did have one made up, but I don't. Oh, here's one. And I use a little twine and ribbon. I might put that on there. Maybe I'll put it on this one with a pom-pom. You know, it's really up to you how you want to decorate these, but that's how I create them. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm sorry this video took so long. And I hope you guys give these a try. If you do, tag me on your video, you know, just put at the Scrappy Bookworm or Scrappy Bookworm 1 so I can check it out. Or just, you know, message me and let me know. And thank you guys so much. Take care. Happy crafting.